Congratulations, Giants fans, on getting your future All-Pro running back Cam Skattebo, a.k.a. the People's running back. Let me tell you all about what you're getting from this kid.
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your guide, Richie Bradshaw, here to give you expert coverage for all things Arizona State Sun Devils, from the gridiron to the hardwood and everything you need to know. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCalls for $20 off your first purchase. Ladies and gentlemen, and specifically Giants fans, on today's agenda. That's what it is. On today's agenda, we just got to talk about Cam Skattebo. He is officially a New York Giant after the G-Men selected him in the 4th round of the 2025 NFL Draft. And Giants fans, first of all, welcome so much to checking out the show. I have a ton of other shows talking about Cam Skattebo. So if you're bored and you want to learn more about the People's running back, then please feel free to do so. By the way, the People's running back, why do we call him that? It's because he runs the ball, he catches the ball, he passes it, he punts it, and he's your mom's favorite player. I am going to sit down with the Locked On Giants host, Locked On New York Giants host, Patricia Traina, who is the nicest person in the whole wide world. And I'm going to introduce everyone to Cam Skattebo. But before we get that far, I do want to just throw out my own personal opinions about his fit with the Giants. And then we'll hop into everything you need to know about Cam Skattebo. So here's what I will tell you. When it comes to his NFL fit, the one thing that I wanted to see with Cam Skattebo was a spot, a location where I knew that he could see the most amount of opportunity, a spot where he would be able to get on the field and be able to be used. The Giants are a perfect place for that. They've got a running back in Kyren Tracy, and I do like Tracy, but the idea of having Tracy and Skattebo together to be able to split carries and hold down a backfield while not having one guy overly tired with the other is a great situation. And especially in today's NFL, you're talking about backfields that typically go running back by committee and stuff like that. So when you have two guys that can do different things, that's a really good opportunity for your offense to get turned around. And keep in mind that Brian Daboll, the head coach, is fighting for his job right now. Like, this is it. This is all or nothing. He was able to draft Jackson Dart in the 1st round. Anyone who knows about my personal draft opinions knows that I am a big-time fan of Jackson Dart. That is my dude. So I think Skattebo was just that much more like cherry on top of the cake, whatever that phrase is, frosting on the top. I don't know. So back to Skattebo. He's going to a situation where he can see the field immediately. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he started the year as the starting running back. Certainly, I expect him to be no worse than RB2 on that roster behind Tracy. And I also expect that they will see a really good timeshare with each other and split the touches. The way that Patricia and I talk about it coming up when we get into the whole crossover edition and everything is it's kind of like this thunder lightning approach. And you've got Tracy that brings your thunder, and he's able to make the big plays, and he's quick and explosive. And then you've got Skattebo. And Giants fans, you're going to look at Skattebo and you're going to say, what's the big deal? This kid is 5'10" in cleats, 215 pounds. He's not the fastest guy in the world. He's not the strongest guy in the world. Like, he's this average athlete. What's so special about him? Well, the thing that's so special about him is he's good at football. And sometimes that is all it takes to translate to the next level. He has a nose for the end zone. He is a phenomenal pass catcher out of the backfield. And when you are looking at what Skattebo does on the field, you will be blown away by the fact that he just sheds contact. The contact balance that Skattebo has is unlike anything I've ever seen before. You would think that the hits this guy takes would just knock his you-know-what right into the dirt, and yet it bounces right off him. Like the kinetic energy that's being forced on him just gets repelled. Like he's got that Black Panther suit, and he just starts generating all that force, and then he gets to inflict it on whoever is trying to hit him. It's phenomenal. It's so special to see that kind of ability that Skattebo is able to do like that. So he does have that. And for a guy who's 5'10 in cleats and 215 pounds, he can lay the boom. He'll put that shoulder down and he will make you look like a Looney Tune character. The way that you will be picking yourself out of the turf with the funniest cartoon chalk outline that you're going to see. He's phenomenal. And he's just got a winning attitude and mindset for him as well. So again, bringing it back to the Giants, you are adding for yourself a phenomenal running back who will be able to complement what you already have with Tyron Tracy. Having two guys that can do two different things is about the best situation that you can present for yourself when you are trying to establish a run game. And remember, the Giants are still trying to put everything back together after letting Saquon Barkley go in free agency, only for him to rush for 2,000 yards and win a Super Bowl. So there's a lot of sting that the fans are feeling. And Tracy looked good last year. I mean, he was fantasy relevant at some point during the season, and he's someone that we should feel confident about going into the season as a lead back for the team. But now you're bringing in Skattebo so that he doesn't have to be a bell cow. You don't have to give Tracy 200 and 250 carries. You can split them 150 each and be able to maximize the amount of efficiency that you can get from those two. Very, very special what you have there. So for the Giants, this is the picture I will paint you. And we'll talk about it in more detail in just a second with Patricia from Locked On Giants. But here's what you have. You have a running back that plays better than what his athletic inefficiencies, I suppose you could call it, would allow him to be. He's just really good at football. And sometimes that's all it takes. Now, that is, more often than not, the exception and not the rule. We see so many guys who are phenomenal football players that don't make it to the pros because they can't keep up with everyone. But he fits that mold of Kyren Williams and Bucky Irving, who look pretty darn good in the pros, despite the fact that they're smaller guys, they're more compact guys, they're not the fastest guys on the field, but they score touchdowns and they catch the football. That is literally what Cam Skattebo is. He is Bucky Irving, he is Kyren Williams. That's what you're getting with this kid. And if that doesn't excite you, then I don't know what could possibly excite you. But I will tell you what, me and Patricia are going to sit down and we are going to talk about this in much more detail. She's got all sorts of questions that I'm going to answer for the Giants fans. And for my Sun Devils fans, first of all, thank all of you for tuning in and making Locked On Sun Devils your first listen of the day. And a shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. You guys are the best. I don't know what I would do without you. But for my Sun Devil fans, definitely tune in because I got to sell the people's running back to the Giants. I tried to do it by myself, but let's listen to the Giants expert herself as she asks me everything she wants to know about Cam Skattebo. I'm going to hand it over to Patricia. Coming up next is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Before we get that far, I do want to bring up our good friends over at Prize Picks. Baseball is in full swing. There's no better way to get in on the action than with Prize Picks. The best place for daily fantasy sports. With Prize Picks, you pick more or less on two different player projections. At least two. You can do more if you would like. And if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. It can be strikeouts, RBIs, first inning runs. Prize Picks keeps every game excited for you. I'm a Diamondbacks fan, so I'm taking a look every week at what Corbin Carroll could possibly do for me. And as someone who hates the Dodgers, I still can't help but looking to see if Shohei Ohtani is going to grab me some kind of stolen base or anything like that. I can get my lineup set in less than 60 seconds. And when I win, it's quick, safe, secure, super easy deposit for myself. Oh, by the way, really fun exclusive promos are available as well, like Taco Tuesday, where PrizePicks offers discounts on select player projections for even more value. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 instantly after you place your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game.
All right, Giant fans, welcome back to the Locked On Giants podcast. I'm your host, Patricia Traina. And as promised, we're going to start taking a look, an in-depth look at some of the New York Giants 2025 draft picks. And up first is my personal favorite pick we're going to talk about. He is, I'm going to let Richie Bradshaw, host of Locked On Sun Devils, who joins me, I'm going to let him tell you the nickname that has been given to New York Giants running back Cam Skattebo. First off, Richie, welcome on into the program.
I am happy to be here. And when you told me we were talking about Cam Skattebo, I said, yeah, I got 15 hours to talk about him, and that might not be enough.
All right, Richie, how about we start off by you telling us the nickname for Cam Skattebo?
I have coined it myself on Locked On Sun Devils. I like to call him the people's running back. And it's very simple. He runs the ball, he catches the ball, he passes the ball, he punts the ball, and he's your mom's favorite player. He's Cam Skattebo.
Okay.
And of course, my shirt, Cam Skattebo saved my life. He is one of the most important players that Arizona State Sun Devils football has had in the last decade, maybe even longer. He is legitimately idolized in Tempe, Arizona. He will, 2 seasons played, he will end up in the Athletic Hall of Fame for this program.
Wow, very impressive. And he did all that stuff. Wow. Does he do dishes too?
He probably does dishes. I'm pretty sure that if you need anything out of him, you might be able to do it. I'm going to see if he can do some landscaping because I got some weeds I got to pull.
Oh gosh, that's amazing. It's funny, Richie, hearing from him, there was just something about his voice, the enthusiasm. I said to myself, I'm going to like talking to this student. I'm going to like seeing the student in the locker room. Richie, let's start there. The enthusiasm, the type of person he is. I mean, what can you tell Giant fans about his character and what he brings to a locker room?
I can tell you he's got big time character. And by the time he gets really comfortable with this team, he will become a vocal leader for the Giants in the locker room, for the running backs room, and potentially the offense or the team. He is a very, very passionate guy. He was not recruited out of high school. He was a 0-star. He had one offer from Sacramento State. He balled out there, enters the transfer portal, comes to Arizona State. They were a 3-win program, first year of the Kenny Dillingham era. He has a pretty good season. You'll look at the numbers, you'll be like, he didn't rush for 800 yards. And I would tell you, like, you got to watch the games because he was better than that. And then you see this past season, there's a reason he finished 5th place in Heisman voting. He was so good at everything he did. But it all comes back to his dedication to his craft. In between the 2023 and 2024 season, Kenny Dillingham sat down with Cam and he said, look, if you're trying to get to the pros, we've got to get you like ready. We have to cut you down on your weight. We have to start doing training and all sorts of stuff. And he did that. He applied everything. And now he's going to the pros. And it's that kind of dedication and character that separates guys from the ones that are more physically gifted and talented and whatnot. And that was something a lot of people were going through the process. He's not fast enough. He's not big enough. And I hear that, but sometimes guys are just good at football. And we're still seeing players like Bucky, Irving, and Kyren Williams, who he got compared to, that are having just as much success. Cam is got the dedication to be able to get to that point. Giants fans should be very excited about a player who's not satisfied with being good enough.
Richie, one of the things I've read about him is that he is a tough runner. He picks up the yards after the catch. He's not afraid of contact. In fact, I think he was described as a contact magnet. Is that something? I mean, that's good, but it can also be a concern because you take a beating at that position as it is. But when you're a contact magnet, that could, double your chances, if you will, for injury. So that being said, do you think he needs to cut back on that a little bit, or do you think he's at a good enough level to where, he's smart about it?
I think that's going to be up to him once you get at the next level and you do start embracing the hits of professional linebackers and safeties, because he played Power 4 competition in the Big 12, and then he played Texas in the Peach Bowl, which that's a lot of SEC talent that's going to the NFL in the future. So it'll be up to him to kind of get a feel for, am I going to be able to continue to put guys in the dirt, or do I need to adjust my game? And there is some stuff that he can do because he is a contact runner. In fact, the contact balance with him blows my mind. If Giants fans are looking for the highlights, go to the Utah game. Look at his 50-yard touchdown against the Utes. He should have gone down, and he puts his hand down and maintains his balance, and the announcers are going crazy about it. It's insane the way that he just moves off of blocks and just absorbs them and pushes them right back with some kind of kinetic injury, like he's got a Black Panther suit on from Marvel. Like, it's phenomenal, but he will need to see how he adjusts to much bigger, stronger, faster, athletic players at the next level. The good news is he has shown the ability to be a one-cut runner. So if he finds a hole, he can plant his foot and just go to that next side. So maybe he doesn't have the game-breaking speed, but he is a smart runner who can identify holes for an offense. He will be able to have that much of an adjustment for himself.
Is he better between the tackles, outside the tackles, or can he just do it all?
He definitely can do it all, but I would tell you that at the next level, I think we want to see him grow the confidence running between the tackles and figuring out, again, like how much contact can I take? Am I going to be able to be the bruiser and put my shoulder down, or should I be trying to make some guys miss? Anything like that. But I do think that at the next level, he's going to have far more success between the tackles than outside. And another part of that is he's just not giftedly fast. He's somewhere between low 4.5s and high 4.6s for his 40 time, depending on what you clock him. So he's not going to outrun a lot of guys to the outside. But if you just north and south, the shortest distance is a straight line, he will be able to have some success there.
You mentioned at the start that he does it all. Now, that brings to mind for some jack of all trades, master of none. Is what particularly does he do really well, and what does he still need to really work on?
So we'll start with the work on, and there's some ball security issues. Now, I don't see him as like this guy that's consistently like putting the ball on the ground, or you're worried about every time he's touching it. There is my question again of how you adjust to the next level. And with a ball security issue like that, if he's trying to adjust to big hitters, is that going to be a continued problem? That will be something to monitor. But otherwise, when it comes to the jack of all trades and a master of none, I think that there's two things that Cam does very, very well. It's absorbing contact and maintaining balance and catching the football. He is an exceptional pass catcher. All 4 seasons of his collegiate career, 2 with Sacramento State, 2 with Arizona State, he was double-digit yards per reception. You're happy with a running back that gets about 7 yards per catch. He was around 11 to 12 in his career. At Arizona State, he had multiple 60-yard touchdown receptions. He can get it out of the backfield. He can beat you deep. Again, if Giants fans are wanting some examples of this, in the Peach Bowl, 4th quarter, he takes a little wheel route deep, and he's held by the safety, Michael Tafe or something like that. I can't remember how to pronounce it. He's being held. He catches this ball. He's dragged down to the ground. His helmet flies off of him, and he gets up and he starts mean mugging the crowd. And if you're not sure who he's mean mugging, it's the Texas Longhorns student section. He's got swagger and attitude, and he is a great pass catcher. So if it takes some time to adjust to running outside the tackles or anything like that, just get him the ball on a little swing route, maybe have him run a route or something. But you will have a great pass catcher from day one. There's nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena. And with Game Time, you can be a part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Game Time makes it fast and easy to get your playoff tickets, even when the demand is sky high. Prices on the app actually go down as tip-off gets closer. And their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. The reason I use Game Time is that 60%. I mean, come on. But it's not just sports, by the way. It's concert, it's comedy, it's theater events, everything near you. Their all-in pricing feature is also really good because it's going to show you the total up front. There are no surprise fees at checkout. What you see is what you pay. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE. That's Locked On College for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
What about the ideal blocking scheme for him, I should say? Is he better, behind, a zone blocking, gap? Where does he really excel as far as, putting his talents to the best use?
Honestly, I don't really know if I have a safe answer with that because he's seen so many different offensive schemes between Arizona State, where he had two different offensive coordinators in 2 years, and then his time at Sacramento State and whatever he was doing in high school, that I don't really know if there is a specific blocking scheme that he really excels at or is not good at. What I'll say is if he's able to manage to find a sliver of daylight, he's someone that falls forward, right? We look at Frank Gore in his prime, always fell forward. Very rarely was he tackled for a loss. Cam is someone that can earn the hard yards. And there were some slugfests this year where Cam was averaging under 3 yards a carry, but ASU gave him the ball 25 times because they knew that he was going to be the focal point of the offense. So maybe he gets to the next level and he finds a little more comfort with one scheme than the other. But the one thing that I am sure of with him is he just falls forward. So, maybe there is a game where he only has 50 rushing yards, but he may be someone that is able to help control the clock and convert the third and shorts and get the first downs for the Giants. All that good stuff. It's just a matter of finding the tiniest spot, getting 1 yard that you need, or getting a chunk. But it'll be really interesting to see how that gets dialed up because, Brian Daboll has not been a phenomenal head coach, but he remains a very good offensive mind. And he's going to look at a guy like Cam Skattebo and go, I know how to use you in all sorts of different ways.
One area that we don't talk about a whole lot with young running backs, and we've got to talk about it because it is important. It's their ticket onto the field. Pass pro. How is Cam in that area?
Not bad. They used him quite a bit for route running and stuff like that. The thing that I love about him is he's just got that aggressive mindset with him. When he's on the field, he thinks he's the biggest, baddest dude out there. 5'10", 215, 5'10" in cleats, 215. He is not the biggest guy out there, but he's got that attitude of, I'm going to plant you in the dirt. You're going to look like a Looney Tune character with an outline in the turf of whatever it looks like when he puts you down there. So he was used a lot in passing situations, but I know that I have the confidence that with the refinement to get him there, he will be able to get there. But I do think that's something that is going to need a little bit of improvement because he was just used so much in the passing game that you really didn't have him sit in the backfield too much. He was always doing something for you.
Richie, I always like to ask this question before the rookies come in for mini camp. And, it might come across as you're doing my job for me, but help me out here. What's one thing, if I were, obviously I want to talk to Cam when he comes in at
You'll
some
love him.
point. I'm sure I will. I already do for some reason. But anyway, what's a good topic you think? Maybe something somebody doesn't know about him, an intangible. What's something that, if I ask him this question, he's just going to go on and just explode and really give a good effort, a good story, if you will.
I think, as biased as this may come across, if you were to ask him about the culture building that he experienced at Arizona State and how integral he was to all of that, he would be gushing about the players he was surrounded with. He would be gushing about the coaches that he got to work with. He'd be gushing about his quarterback, Sam Levitt, and the connection they had. But he took a lot of pride in turning around a program that could not have been in a worse situation. I won't bore everyone with the details because it'd take forever, but he comes to this program, he turns it around quickly. He's one of the biggest reasons why, and he will not be the person that gloats about it. He will spend his time talking about everyone else. That is a team first player before anything else.
And then finally, Richie, I know this probably isn't fair, but I've got to ask it anyway. Is there a running back that either past or present that he reminds you of most of?
I love Kyren Williams. I think that is 100% the player that I see with him. Yeah, he's not Toby Gerhart. He's not Peyton Hillis. He's not Mike Allstott, anything like that. The obvious dots that we can connect. He reminds me of Kyren Williams. He's not beating you in a foot race, but he can beat you in many different ways, and he's got a nose for the end zone. He's going to score a lot of touchdowns. So Giants fans should be very excited. I think him and Tyron Tracy are going to be a really good combo. And I think Cam Skattebo, before the end of his rookie deal, is going to be the number one running back on that team. I mean, I could tell you all-pro number one in the nation. That's very biased. I do think by the end of his rookie deal, he's RB1 on that depth chart.
Well, the Giants haven't had a legitimate thunder and lightning combo, I want to say, really since Bradshaw and Jacobs. Which was years ago. Tracy, I look at him as kind of the lightning, and I think Skattebo could be the thunder. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. And what's so funny is, he's not built like Jacobs at all. He's not 6'4", 6'5", 250, but you're going to feel it. When you make contact with him, you're going to feel every bit of that energy. That's a bowling ball in Cam Skattebo.
I'm glad you said that because we've been referring to him as a human bowling ball. So yes. It sounds like we got it pegged correctly.
Yes.
Last but not least, Richie, anything you want me to pass along to Cam when he comes up?
You just throw out that nickname for him. Ask him if he's a big fan of the People's running back, and let me know what he thinks about it. I've been trying to get that ball rolling for about a year and a half, and now I got an NFL audience that will hopefully use it for me. He's the best. Right. He does everything, and he's your mom's favorite player. Get that jersey. I will be getting his jersey when the number gets announced.
Well, make sure you wait until the regular season because you know how numbers can change. So
that is true.
But I have a feeling he's going to emerge as a fan favorite. It's just something about him. I can't put my finger on it. It's just, and just something that when I saw the videos and we heard him on the conference call, I was like, oh, I'm going to love this guy.
You will. And
I've covered this team a long time, and I'm like, his exuberance almost reminds me, and I'm dating myself here, but I go back to many, many years. It's almost like a Phil McConkey. I'm trying to think of somebody a little bit more recent because I know I have people in my audience who maybe don't remember the 1980s, but Phil McConkey was one of those do-all enthusiastic. He was a receiver, but he was like a little engine that could, if you will. So
maybe you could go. Oh, who was the Jets receiver from the 90s? It wasn't Wesley Welker. It was something along those lines. Where
not Keyshawn, right?
What was that?
It's not Keyshawn, was it? Keyshawn Johnson?
No, he was a smaller guy who just overlooked and everything, and he was just able to get the job done. And that's the way I see Cam, is like a lot of people are going to overlook him. He's not the fastest. He's not the strongest on the field, but he might be the best player on the field because he's just good at football. And he's got that mindset. He keeps track of everyone that doubts him.
All right. Maybe a Greg, maybe now that I think about it, maybe a Greg Camella. He at least close. I mean, he was a fullback in the 90s, but he was Tiki Barber's running mate. So maybe, something like that. But I'll give it some thought and I'll let you know. I'll let you know who he ultimately ends up reminding me of. But right now, I've
Please.
got to say, Richie, I love the guy. Haven't even met him yet. And I just know he's going to be a hit with the fans.
He is. He will be a fan favorite very, very quickly.
For sure. All right, Richie, listen, I appreciate you coming on. He is Richie Bradshaw. He is the host of Locked on Sun Devils. Please, Giant fans, make sure you check out all of our college hosts. We have hosts for just about every college program, and they don't just do football. They do baseball, the transfer portal, the other sports. They probably work harder than we do here on the NFL channel. So do check them out. Do support them. Richie, I want to thank you for coming on. Giant fans, want to thank you for tuning in. Always a pleasure. Make sure you keep it here all week long. We'll have more guests on to talk about the draft class. We'll talk about some other stuff leading up to the rookie minicamp, which is a week from this weekend coming up, and a whole lot more. So we'll see you again tomorrow, Giant fans. Have a good one.